The last ember of Oryn. The world did not end with a scream, but with a sigh, a final cold breath that swept across the fields of ash before the sun vanished behind a perpetual veil of soot. You stand at the edge of the gray sea. Now, there are no waves here, only a sluggish lapping of black water against rotting wood. The smell of old metal and damp earth hangs heavy in the air. This is a world of shadows, where light is nothing more than a distant, painful memory. Close your eyes and imagine the silence. It is not a peaceful silence. It is the silence of a tomb where time itself has stopped beating. You walk the path toward the cathedral of lost souls. Your footsteps are the only sound in this infinite void. The walls are covered in black ivy, its leaves rustling like dried skin. Here in the darkness, the gods have turned away. They took their names with them, leaving only the ruins of their vanity behind. They say if you stare into the mist for too long, you begin to hear the voices of those who went before us. Melancholic echoes telling of days when the grass was still green and fire provided warmth instead of just a pale blue glow. You leave the shore and enter the skeletal remains of a city. The buildings lean against one another as if supporting each other from collapsing into the mud. You find the great library. The door moans on rusted hinges. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of decaying parchment and cold smoke. You run your fingers over the spines of books whose titles are written in languages no longer spoken. You pull a heavy volume from the shelf. The dust dances in the faint beam of light hitting the floor from a hole in the roof. You read of an age when the sun stayed in the sky for 12 hours and men did not fear the night. It is a painful realization. You sit on the floor, letting the weight of the story settle in your bones. The melancholy here is not an enemy. It is a companion. It tells you that it is okay to be tired. It is okay to let go. Inside the main hall of the cathedral, candles burn that never grow shorter. Their wax is black as pitch. You sit on a shattered bench and feel the cold creeping through your clothes. It is an honest cold. It asks nothing of you. It simply accepts you, just as the darkness accepts everything that falls into it. There, in the shadow of the altar, something moves. It is not a monster. It is just a shadow longer than the rest, a faceless guardian who has waited for centuries for the last light to fade. He does not attack. He only watches. In his eyes, if he has any, one can see the entire sadness of a world that forgot how to dream. You realize he isn't guarding the cathedral. He is guarding the silence itself. The journey leads you back down to the obsidian beach. You find a small boat, bleached white like bone. You lie down inside. You do not need to row. The tide knows its path. As the boat drifts into the purple haze, the ruins of the world fade. The stars above are dim, blinking out like embers in a dying hearth. Stay here for a moment. Let the heaviness of the world slide off your shoulders. In this darkness, there are no expectations, no battles to be won, only the gentle, steady whisper of oblivion. The night is long in the pale dawn, and perhaps that is the only gift we have left, the peace before the final forgetting. Part 2. The Ironwoods and the Silent Fields. Expanded. The boat slowly touches the shore of a different place, a place where the obsidian sand gives way to the ironwoods. You step out of the white boat, your boots sinking into the silver frost that covers the ground. These trees do not have leaves. Their branches are made of cold, black metal, reaching for the bruised sky like the ribs of a forgotten giant. Every movement you make is echoed by the creaking of steel limbs. The air here is sharper, tasting of salt and ancient rust. It is a forest that has forgotten how to grow, yet refuses to fall. You walk beneath the canopy of iron, and for a moment, you feel as though the forest is breathing with you, a slow rhythmic grinding of metal against metal. As you walk deeper into the grove, the wind begins to play a different tune. It whistles through the metallic needles, creating a low, humming sound that vibrates in your chest. It is a haunting melody, a song of things that were once organic and are now eternal. You find a small stone circle in the heart of the forest. In the center, a single blue flame flickers on a pedestal of ice. It gives no warmth, but it radiates a strange, calm energy. You realize this is the memory of the world's first fire. You sit down on a cold metallic root and watch the flame. In its reflection, you see shadows of people dancing, laughing, living. It is a beautiful ache, a reminder that even in the deepest dark, something remains. You breathe in the cold air, feeling the weight of the forest pressing against your soul like a heavy velvet blanket. Leaving the metallic woods, you enter the silent fields. This is a vast empty plain where the mist is so thick you can no longer see your own feet. It is a sea of white wool, muffling every sound until only your heartbeat remains. Thump, thump, the only drum in a world of silence. Occasionally, you pass a rusted plow half buried in the ashen soil, or a collapsed fence made of brittle wood. These are the last remains of a life that was once vibrant and loud. Now, the fields only grow silence. You walk for what feels like hours, but time has no meaning here. There is no sun to track the day, only the shifting shades of purple and charcoal in the clouds above. Each step feels lighter than the last, as if the ground itself is trying to pull the exhaustion from your bones. Eventually, the ground begins to rise. The soft ash beneath your feet turns into hard, jagged stone. You are leaving the lowlands behind, moving toward the dark silhouette of the great citadel that looms in the distance. The path is steep and made of cracked basalt. With every step upward, the air becomes thinner and the silence becomes more profound. It is a silence that speaks of heights and cold stars. You are leaving the world of men and entering the world of stone. Look back one last time at the woods and the sea. They are gone, swallowed by the fog of the valley. There is only the climb ahead of you. There is only the mountain. And the promise of a rest that is final, absolute, and deeply earned. Part 3, the Citadel of Stars and the Eternal Night, ultra expanded. The climb is long, and your breath becomes a fine silver mist in the freezing air. Each step is a battle against the gravity of your own exhaustion. Before you stands the Citadel of Stars, a tower carved from a single piece of fallen night sky. Its walls are not made of stone, but of a dark, crystalline substance that seems to swallow what little light remains in this dying world. There are no guards at the gates, no heavy locks to turn. Only a massive archway that stands open, inviting you to leave the burdens of the earth behind. You step inside, and the temperature drops. It is a dry, ancient cold that feels like a benediction, cleansing you of the dust of the road. The floor is polished obsidian, reflecting the dim glow of your own soul as you walk toward the spiral stairs. Before you reach the stairs, you pass through the Hall of Echoes. Here, the walls are lined with mirrors made of frozen moonlight. As you walk past them, you do not see your reflection as you are now, but as you were before the ash fell. You see a flicker of a smile, a glimpse of a sun-drenched field, the ghost of a person you used to be. But you do not stop. You realize that these are but ghosts, and you are seeking something deeper than memory. You begin to ascend the spiral stairs. Round and round you go, higher into the throat of the tower. On the walls, there are carvings of constellations that no longer exist in the heavens. You see the Great Bear, the Hunter, and the Weaver, all rendered in sparkling dust that glitters in the dark. They seem to watch you with silent, indifferent eyes as you climb toward the ceiling of the universe. With every floor you pass, the sounds of the world below, the creaking iron woods, the lapping sea, the whispering fields, fade into absolute nothingness. You are rising above the atmosphere of grief. You are reaching for the very edge of reality. Your legs feel heavy, like lead, yet your heart feels strangely hollow, as if the tower is slowly draining the last of your mortal worries, replacing them with a vast lunar calm. You reach a door of pure starlight and push it open. You step out onto the highest balcony, a platform that hangs over the abyss. From here, the world of Oryn looks like a discarded toy, a landscape of violet mists and silent ruins, tiny and fragile. But looking up, the view is staggering. The thick, suffocating clouds of the pale dawn have finally parted. Millions of silver stars are weeping light into the vast, hungry void above. You find a stone bench at the very edge of the balcony, overlooking the end of all things. You sit down, and for the first time, you feel a faint, ethereal touch of warmth on your skin. It is the starlight, old and cold, yet welcoming you home. There is no more path to walk, no more stories to uncover or burdens to carry. The long night is not an end, but a final transition into the infinite. You lean your head back against the dark crystal of the citadel and close your eyes. The silence is no longer heavy or frightening. It is light, like the touch of a falling leaf. Like a blanket of black velvet, the darkness tucks you in, shielding you from the memory of the ash and the rust. Sleep now, wanderer. For the embers of the world have faded, and the stars have taken their place as your eternal guardians. The world is at rest. The journey is complete. And finally, you are at peace.